Alex, you are in Cleveland as the Republican National Convention gets underway. Day one, you're there. What do you got?
Yeah, Bill, I'm here in Cleveland. The 2016 Republican National Convention to nominate Donald Trump kicked off tonight. I'll be here on the ground bringing you the people, the delegates, the protests. But first, we're going to bring you a familiar face who we haven't seen in a few days.
And so we decided that night that we needed to get involved on behalf of the person who we thought had the best chance to win our party's nomination and the best chance to beat either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders in the November election. That person was then and is now Donald Trump.
That's Governor Christie just a few days after losing out in the vice presidential sweepstakes to Governor Mike Pence of Indiana. Second time around for Christie, no decision on VP for him. Addressing the Michigan Republican Party at a breakfast Monday morning, directly asking for party unity.
If you are not working for Donald Trump, you're working for Hillary Clinton.
Now, Christie displayed no ill will towards not being selected as his party's vice presidential nominee by Donald Trump. He praised Mike Pence as a good guy and said that everyone should enthusiastically work to assure Trump and Pence's election in November.
Christie even told the story of how he and Trump became friends. It was in 2002, right after Christie was appointed as U.S. Attorney, and it was at the urging of Trump's sister, federal judge Marianne Trump Barry, who suggested a dinner date between the two men.
You know, I sat there for a second. I said, "Do you mean Donald?" And she said, "Yeah, my little brother Donald." Now imagine this. He wants to have dinner with you, but she said he's a little reluctant to call you and ask. And he wondered if I'd be willing to set it up for him.
Now, the entire New Jersey delegation, which Christie leads, is here. They're staying at the DoubleTree in Beechwood, about 20 miles outside the city. And life as a delegate, well, it's pretty good, Bill. You got a nice hotel room. It's all set up. You get shuttles to go back and forth from the convention hall. A slate of events, good speakers. Now, throughout the entire convention, I've got to tell you, the message has been party unity. At that Michigan breakfast that I went to, one of the lead speakers said, look, Donald Trump was able to read the tea leaves the best. And this person, who was actually an ambassador for George Herbert Walker Bush, asked the entire party to unite behind Trump. There have been some notable absences here, but right now the message is unity in the face of defeating Hillary Clinton in November.
I've been to a number of conventions, and typically as it starts, there's a momentum building in, and there's an energy that is palpable.
Yeah, it's definitely starting, and I think that some of these delegates are here to sort of shake off the dust and the blood and the mud of the primary and move on as a united party against a common adversary, Hillary Clinton, in November.
All right, thanks, Alex. Guys, we are joined by the host of New Jersey Now, Jim McQueeny, who is on the floor of the Republican National Convention. What do you got?
Well, the backstory has been the front page story, actually. It's still about Christie, even though he didn't get the vice presidential nod. And even the discussion, while it's about Trump, it's about Pence, it's still with the New Jersey delegation, a lot about Christie. Bill, one of the things they're talking about is that he might end up being the White House staff director or White House chief of staff. You know what that means? All right. He's an employment director right now for a prospective Trump presidency.
Governor Christie gave a speech at the last convention, and the speech was all about Christie. Is there any buzz about the governor's speech on Tuesday night? Because certainly as he came in runner-up for the Veep Stakes, I would imagine all eyes are going to be on him Tuesday night.
I think you'll see a toned down Christie a little bit, and he'll go after why they want to have Trump as president, and that means another attack probably against Hillary Clinton.
Jim, what about the mood there? I mean, you and I have both been to a number of conventions. I think back to 2008, and the buzz was all about the governor of Alaska, Sarah Palin. That was the big buzz of the day. What is the biggest buzz going on now among the delegates and the folks that are attending?
Well, I've been to 13 of these conventions, both Democrat and Republican. And I got to tell you, Bill, everybody who attends their own convention leaves here thinking they're absolutely going to win. The buzz here is, and frankly, less the buzz than conversations you hear. And that Pence ticket as vice president didn't seem to be, from the discussions I overheard, not talking with people, but overheard, they didn't think he brought a lot to that table, actually. He certainly doesn't bring electoral votes because Indiana has only twice gone for Democrats. It was going to be going for a Republican anyway this time around.
Hey, Jim, what's the buzz amongst folks out there about the roster of speakers?
The firepower is going to be Trump, 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 Trump. And by the way, People I talk to in the stands here all want to see Donald Trump every day. It's a show, man. And they want to come here and see a show, and they want to leave here feeling it's Trump, 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 and he isn't going to disappoint them in the show.
Donald Trump needs to show himself to be measured, ordered, and we're having a real plan with economic policy. An event where there's a teleprompter where he can control his message is probably the best for him going forward since the general.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
I'm in here in Cleveland covering the convention, and most of the activity for this week is going to be confined to a very small area in the center of town. That's where you got the convention center, you've got the bars, you've got the restaurants, you've got the arena. And most of the media attention, and certainly all the delegates' attention, is going to be focused on that tiny portion of the larger city of Cleveland. But I wanted to get to know Cleveland a little bit better. And you can't do that unless you talk to the people. So I went outside the central business district of Cleveland, out into the southlands of the city, and into Mount Olive Baptist Church, a place where they welcomed me with open arms to talk politics, Cleveland, and their hopes and dreams.
Preaching is what I do.
Is what you do?
That's what I do.
For how long?
I've been in the ministry now since 1974.
Reverend Larry Harris Sr. is the pastor here, and he'll tell you, he played some football back in the day for JFK High School. It's a story his congregation has gotten sick of hearing, but tried it out on me for the first time. And Pastor Harris knows the challenges facing his area of Cleveland.
They're not going to see as much of what goes on at the grassroots level. Our need for health care, our need for a government that really takes time to make sure that everyone, not just the man who's doing well, but everyone is provided for. There are homes in our areas and families that can greatly be built up if we have the appropriate care from our government.
Now, I arrived at the church just as news was breaking of the assassination of the 3 police officers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And during the church service, pastor came up and announced it to the congregation. Their reaction? They were horrified.
We had another major shooting of police.
And then came something I really didn't expect. Pastor asked me to say a few words about the state of affairs in the world and the dark times that we live in, and I gave him my best shot.
And my job is to give you guys the information that you need to see the light in that darkness. Because no matter what, there's always light, there's always hope, and there's always a chance. You've got to remember that. So please, help me help other people know that there is light, there is hope, there is goodness, and God is great.
During the service, Pastor mentioned politics only obliquely, talking about wisdom for the candidates on both sides and healing as a nation. But there's no doubt that this entirely African-American group are big fans of President Barack Obama. They told me so, and they have a lot of skepticism for Republican presumptive nominee Donald Trump.
If you all could deliver a message for before he takes the stage to Mr. Trump, what would it be?
Jesus is on the main line. Tell him what you want, United. Jesus is on the main line. Tell him what you want, United.
It's a great man, Lee.
Oh, yeah, the Lord bless
They
us.
don't come any better. Okay. So he needs to step up and step back and listen to somebody other than himself.
After spending just a few hours with this warm and welcoming crowd, they might not agree with Donald Trump, but I think that if they invited him to their church, they would listen to him, and they would encourage him to hear the word of the Lord.
All right. Thanks, Alex.